Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. If you're new here, welcome. If you're an OG, you guys probably know what this week is. It's a big week for Seint. We got the customer appreciation party. So I have here in this little bag the only new products we were given a heads up on. And so I want you guys to be prepared for these dropping on Friday. So we're gonna show you the new highlight and contour shades. If you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for being here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. I want to show you guys all of the new shades. Now, I know some of these shades are definitely not my color, but as an artist, the best way for me to learn these colors is trying them on myself. And I've already been reached out by quite a few of my customers being like, can I get these shades? First of all, I have not even touched them yet. I haven't swatched them. I haven't compared them to any of the other colors. And so this is going to be my first impression, but also bear with me as I learn these shades. Now, if you tell me your current shades, I will definitely be able to tell you if it's a possibility that these colors would be good for you. But know that it takes artists a lot of, I'd say, trial and error and troubleshooting with current clients to figure out who these shades will be best for. So I'm not one of the type of artists that will be like, oh, you've gotten darker, just shade up, because our line doesn't work that way. We don't have every undertone at every depth within our line. It's not, as I like to describe to the artists on my team, it's not linear. So there's some shades that are about the same depth, different undertones. And so you can't just necessarily look at the website and be like, okay, that one's one over, that one's one darker. That's not the case. So if you have questions over your own match, obviously I will put my color match request down below. If you're a current client, you can always just send me a selfie in the email. Always just tell me what your current shades are. And if they're not sitting right, I will tell you if these are a possibility. Obviously, we just got 3 colors not very long ago. Was that April at our conference? And so this is a lot for Seint. We never get new highlight shades. This is a lot. So to get 6 in a short period, I feel like I'm still learning the last shades, to be honest. So bear with me, even though I feel like some of these colors were missing and needed from the line. And so I'm really excited to try them and to get your guys' feedback on if they were what was missing. I know the last bunch, Athens, so many people were like, this is the color I've been waiting for. And I'm like, yes, because we've been asking for that shade for a really long time, and they are answering a lot of our prayers. So let me just keep it simple. And first we're gonna start with the new contour shade, because I feel like highlights are a doozy, but contours are much more versatile, a lot easier to have multiple contours depending on your skin. Okay, so that is the caveat. This one is called Cedar. It's like a beautiful, I'm guessing, cedar tree. I took botany, I should know that. But anyway, you could tell that it had melted it, but it's okay. It went flat again once I put it in the fridge. So Cedar was described by corporate as in between stone and Astoria. I will re-swatch all of my contours and I'll put that picture in here, but let's just see a little first impressions. So I, on the daily, wear Astoria. I want to show you guys all the current contour shades. This is all of them in our line from lightest to darkest, although shadow is in a category by itself because this is not meant for the actual face. It's only meant for noses and kind of some detail contour. So you can tell how gray that one is. It doesn't blend well in the face. So Contours, I'll be honest, these two I don't match to. It's very, very rare that I would match for this for a full face. I find the lightest shades best for color correcting than actual contours. So I tend to start in this area. So this is coolest to warmest. So ash, henna, olive, stone, Astoria, and then it goes indigo, cola. So they're saying it's in between stone and Astoria. I think that's pretty accurate. So, so I tend to feel like these last four are all about the same depth. So it's kind of like my mid-tone, skin tone girlies can wear anywhere from ash, henna, olive, or stone, depending on their kind of undertones and skin concerns. The more redness you have in your face, the more you're gonna go towards the cool contours, and the more you have to avoid these warmer shades. So I'm very curious about this color because, for one, we've never had a contour in between these shades and Astoria, which is kind of like in a league all by itself. It's darker than these, but then it's lighter than indigo, and we don't really have anything kind of in between the two. So I've been asking for one, and I really wanted something neutral. I'll be honest, sometimes I don't always agree with what they classify as something as cool or neutral, because they being Seint likes to classify indigo as neutral, whereas it pulls very warm on, I'd say 90% of people. It pulls the redness out of my skin. I love it, it's beautiful, but not everyone can wear it. And so saying that this one is warm, I'm curious if it really is gonna be that warm or if it's actually gonna be kind of more in that neutral category. I won't be able to tell until I actually try it. I tend to be one that if I use anything classified as neutral, which is olive and indigo, they tend to pull very warm on me because I have rosacea. So if you are like me and you have a lot of redness or rosacea in your skin, if contours that are cool, like ash and Astoria, pull warm on you and pull pretty neutral, this most likely is gonna pull warmer. Okay, so let's swatch it. That doesn't mean you can't wear it. I'm just saying know that going into it. If you're looking for a very shadow, natural looking contour, like that looks very much like a natural shadow, this might not be for you unless you have a skin tone with little warmth in it. Does that make sense? Okay, so right off the bat, I'm trying to get off that top layer. Contours are notorious for having more of that waxy layer on top so they don't dry out. Since our contours do dry out, I feel like more so. They're just a drier formulation. So I'm just using the warmth of my finger and I'm getting off that top layer so I can get an accurate swatch. Oh yeah, it's definitely warm, I would say. All right, so let's go ahead and swatch it. I'm gonna do it right here. Okay, so there it doesn't look quite so bad, but obviously we don't put that at full pigmentation, right? We tend to blend our contours, at least I hope we all do. So let's kind of blend that out. It's a really pretty color, but it definitely, I really want to swatch it next to everything to compare. Okay, let's first swatch it in between those two that they said it was. So let's get some stone. My stone is very dry because I can't wear this color at all, to be honest. It kind of blends in with my freckles and it does not work for me whatsoever. It's probably the only contour I can't wear. Okay, so we're gonna go, this one is lighter. Gosh, next to that, I feel like it looks ashier, doesn't it? Maybe it's just because it's so much lighter. Okay, so that's stone. Let's get Astoria. I really got a lot on my finger. Let's attempt to swatch some and then blend it with a clean finger. Okay, so then this is Astoria. Okay, so definitely agree. It is right in the middle as far as depth goes. You can probably tell from looking at this. Gosh, Stone looks so ashy in comparison. And Stone is like our warmest contour. So interesting. And you can tell how ashy, I feel like more gray when I say ashy, Astoria is than Cedar. I'm very excited to try it. I really want to see what it looks like next to Henna and Olive as well, because was my favorite for many years when I started as an artist. We didn't have Astoria at the time, I'll be honest, so Olive was like my best choice. We also didn't have Henna, so it was like ash or Stone or Olive. So let's see what Olive looks like. Okay, let's see. This one is, let's just put it down here since I have room. Man, it's crazy how much darker. I think my Stone was pretty dry, and that's why it was looking a little bit lighter. Hopefully when I get good pictures, you'll be able to really tell the difference. I feel like I'm starting to get clouds here. Gosh, I think it has a really similar warmth to Olive. So Olive is one classified as neutral. I've always considered it, yes, it's less warm than Stone, but more warm than Henna, which is more warm than ash. Yes, it's confusing. So Olive is another one I tend to, looking back at pictures, I can see how warm it was pulling on me. Not that it looked bad, it just was, it's a different look. So if you like to switch up your contour and you've been wearing something like Astoria or Henna, like it'll give you a different depth and tone, if that makes sense. So let's see what it looks like compared to Henna, because Henna is one of my favorites. It's classified as cool, but I consider it more in the neutral category. It's got green undertones, which makes it a little bit more olive undertoned than Olive itself. I don't know if you can tell. It's really hard to look at, in my opinion, look at the pan and really be able to determine anything. You almost have to try it and blend it out on yourself to kind of see what it's gonna look like. But you see that green in it? Green is cool, which is why it tends to be towards the cooler side. So yes, I agree. Cedar's definitely warmer than these, but it's definitely warmer than Henna. I don't know, I feel like it looks more like a darker version of Olive than a darker version of Stone. Stone. Here's the new Cedar. And here's the new Olive. I feel like on camera they look all identical. I promise they don't. And this is why we have artists to help you guys out in choosing. All right, I will definitely take some clear contour swatch photos so that hopefully you'll be able to see better than in this lighting, even though this is natural light. Sometimes it's just not easy to see on my arm. I'll try to take pictures on this side. Okay, so that's Cedar. I'm dying to try it. I'm definitely gonna try it. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys some comparisons where they say it is. I've been asking for a shade in between those mid-tone colors and Astoria forever, because Astoria is cool and darker, meaning if it's hard to blend on you, you need to go to a warmer shade. Our only warmer shade at that kind of depth was Indigo. And Indigo is warmer, yes, but it can actually be one of our most difficult contours to blend out. And in my opinion is very dependent on how you take care of your skin. Like if you've exfoliated recently, otherwise it can really sit in your pores, and it just is one of the most finicky contours to blend out. I love the color, but if you don't exfoliate, I don't even recommend it. And so then we'd have to go down to Astoria. So I feel like this is gonna be a really good option because it's really not that much lighter, but it is warmer. So if Astoria doesn't blend well on you, this might be your answer. Because we've never had anything kind of, that's why I was looking for something neutral in between those midtones and Astoria. I don't know, I honestly, guys, I won't be able to truly tell you if it's what I've been looking for until I try it on my face and see if it pulls me warm. If it pulls me warm, then I'm gonna classify it as warm, not neutral. If it looks good, then we're gonna say it's a winner. Not to say I'm not gonna wear it, I'm just saying. Oh, I hope I'm making sense. As an artist, sometimes it's like we have to classify things in this certain way so that if you're having a certain issue, we know what to recommend next. And so that's why I'm like, I've got to try it on my face, see how it deals with rosacea, and then I'll know how to recommend it to you guys, depending on what you're using and what you think about it. So that's why I always am asking you guys, okay, but what are your current shades? What are you using now? And how does it sit on your face? Knowing that information, then I can make my best recommendations. Okay, moving on. I am going to treat highlights very differently. So if you've heard me before, contours are something that, yes, I will include swatch pictures in my color match. You will not see me swatching highlights in my color match. And you guys probably have heard me say a million times, that's because you're never gonna wear it at the opacity or the pigmentation that you see in a swatch. And so what happens is people see the swatches and then they're like, oh no, you're color matching me too dark. And then they go rogue, buy a different shade, and it doesn't work for them. So I truly don't swatch highlight shades. I find it so deceiving. It makes the highlight look straight up like it does in the 10 or on the website, neither of which is accurate of what it's gonna look like on your skin. So I'm not gonna swatch it on, I'm going to swatch them, but I'm not gonna swatch them on my arm. Putting them on any skin tone, anyone's arm, is going to change the way it looks, because you're seeing my skin tone affecting the color and changing it. It's so like when people send me swatches of it on their face, that doesn't mean anything to me. I have to learn the shades in a much different way than swatching them on the face. Like I've said 100 times, it doesn't work with traditional foundation. Swatching it on your face isn't really gonna help. So I am gonna swatch it on a white sheet of paper. And that is truly just to show you guys and myself to learn kind of the undertones. And that's gonna tell me a lot about how this color is gonna be used. And I wanna compare it to similar colors to see the differences. So hopefully it'll help you guys. From what I see, I'll be able to tell you if it is an option. There's 3 colors. Corporate gave us some descriptions, like I know one of them is between the infamous Mango and Sandy, which are my colors. So I'm gonna save this one for last. This is Hazel, because it might be what I've been waiting for 6 years. We're gonna see. They're classifying it as warm though. Sandy's not warm, so I don't know. We're gonna see if it works for me. So I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna do my face with this last. But I wanna show you guys Golden Hour. Okay, Golden Hour is supposed to be between Mango and Goddess, which is just one up from Mango. I don't know, we're gonna compare it. And then Palace, and I think this one we've really needed. I'm told all the time something's pulling too yellow. And all of our highlights, so if you look at all of our highlights, all of them until we got the shade Versailles, which was pretty recently, you can tell they're all yellow based, okay? So this one's Versailles. This one is brand new. Can you tell? it's pink undertoned. So we've always had yellow based shades, and that's because they're not meant to match exactly. They're meant to brighten the skin. But I have clients all the time where they're wearing the least yellow shades we have, and it's still pulling them a titch too yellow. And so we had Versailles, and it's great at kind of helping balance that. But this one I think is going to be the answer to my prayers, because I believe it's about this tone but pink. And I think it's gonna work really well for people that I know exactly in my head. I just gotta compare it. So this is Palace. So granted, you gotta understand, most people with pink undertones have very fair skin. The more color and melanin you produce in your skin, the more you get warmth. Okay, warmth is classified as yellow, orange, red. So that's why as you get darker, you see more and more yellow, orange, red undertones in our shades. It's just naturally the way our skin works. And so that is why this is a very fair shade, okay? But it's gonna be great. I can't wait to try it. Let's just start with this one, because I feel like this is the one I've been waiting for a really long time. Okay, so here's Palace. Again, I'm going to swatch it on here. Okay, and I believe Palace is going to be, and I want you guys to be able to see it, but I also want to show you what it's going to be like more blended out. So I'm going to do a little comet effect. Okay, so you can see it at full opacity, and you can kind of see it as it blurs out. Okay, and we're going to compare this to what I think. Okay, so let's just put it next to Versailles. So Versailles is our only other pink undertone shade. Can you tell how much lighter Versailles is? So Versailles is mostly just a brightener. It was really good for people with pink undertones to kind of help balance when they had these other yellow-based shades. And so I have never color matched anyone who could actually wear this shade as a main shade, but I have color matched a lot of people to using this as a brightener that have really pink undertones in their skin. And when I say pink, and I know I'm gonna probably get this question because a lot of people, you can't even tell, see how deceiving that is? This looks darker than this. You saw how much lighter it is. This is why you can't swatch highlight shades. It literally depends on how much you're applying. It makes it look completely different. Hoping this will kind of help me determine true undertones, even if you guys can't necessarily see it exactly on camera, because I feel like the white sheet of paper is making it kind of blown out. Sorry guys, but it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna help any more so. It almost looks straight up white on my skin. Okay, you can kind of see the difference there. That is Versailles. This is the new Palace. You see how pink it is on me? I have no pink in my skin whatsoever. And so when I'm saying pink, those are mostly people with cool undertones. Now, caveat here. I get people that I color match every single day that tell me they're cool that are not. So know something just know something. If one person told you you were cool in your life and they worked at a makeup counter, that does not mean that they actually know your undertones. And your undertones, you can most certainly change through your life. A lot of people, especially with mature skin, are like, oh, I'm very fair. And they're not fair at all. They were just always lighter complected, but obviously as we age, we get a lot more pigmentation in our skin. All of that sun damage from years and years and years goes to the surface, and we get darker, and our skin tone, color, all that changes so much. Our skin type changes through the years, our skin tone. And so just because you might have been cool as a child does not mean you were or are anymore. And so if you can't recognize it, it's okay. That is my job, is to really look at your undertones and determine what's going to balance you overall, because you're not going to be wearing this as a main shade most likely. unless you're using a color corrector because it is that light. This is gonna be mainly your brightener shade. Again, these colors are deceiving. You're always gonna wear something darker than you probably think based on looking at those pictures on the website, okay? So when I say pink and you're looking at like a color wheel, do I have a color wheel handy? Okay, when you're looking at like a color wheel here, right? So if you didn't even learn Demi, it doesn't matter, okay? When we're talking about warmth in your skin, that means you're going more yellow, orange, red side of the spectrum, okay? Cool is this side, okay? So when you get more pink, purple, blue in your skin, you have cool undertones. Usually it looks like, if you're just gonna compare your face to a white sheet of paper, you don't look like you're more yellow, you look more pink. And it's pretty obvious in most people. And another caveat, there's a lot of people that have multiple undertones in their face that are really cool maybe around the eyes. In fact, I'm pretty cool around my eyes because I don't self-tan my eyelids, right? So like, I'm pretty cool here, but obviously I'm very yellow. You can tell here, the pink does not match my undertones whatsoever. It stands out quite a bit, okay? I have yellow around my mouth. Some people are cool in some places and very warm in others. That is normal, that's okay. And so I tend to classify those people as neutral, and sometimes they can wear multiple shades. Sometimes it's just a personal preference, depending on their overall tone is dependent upon how I match them. So just know that undertones is a little tricky when it comes to our makeup. It's not so black and white, not so cut and dry. But now we have two cool shades, which is awesome. It's going to lead to a lot more versatility in color matching as well, getting you guys the perfect match. Okay, up until now, this is the color I would give most people that were cool. If they needed it, would be a combination of these two. That's white peach. Again, you can tell comparing the two, this one looks like a lot more pink and this one looks a lot more yellow, which is what I expected. It's kind of obvious, right? So in my opinion, I think this shade is about the same depth as white peach and aura. So if you are one that is using white peach or aura, but it's pulling you to yellow, my first question is, are you using a color corrector? Because most people cannot wear either of those shades without something to correct darker points in the face. It is very rare. Those shades give little to no coverage and longevity in darker points. So this is aura, this is white peach. Again, practically impossible to tell from those. I think the darkness of my hand is actually helping. Oh my gosh, that's just crazy to me because this one is actually more yellow than the first one, but because my swatch of one was heavier, see how deceiving they are? This is why I don't do swatches, guys. Okay, I'm just trying to prove a point. Swatches are deceiving, don't trust them, but I'm trying to make this look as accurate as possible to what I know and what I've learned over 6 years of being an artist, and aura is more yellow than white peach, I promise you. So they are about the same depth as those two, which is what I was wanting. Yay, that means, so here's Palace versus Aura. If you are using Aura or white peach, those are notoriously brightener shades, especially when you get into like my skin tone, somewhere at the amber sandy range, usually uses a brightener in that shade. Now, granted, most people that are as dark as sandy have more melanin and don't need a pink undertone. This shade is going to be key for those people that have very fair skin, but have a lot of depth and redness and need a shade like amber or mango to color correct, yet need a shade like they were previously matched like white peach as their main. And that is still too yellow for them. This is gonna be your best friend. So if you are matched to like mango white peach for Psy, That means you had pink undertones, and that means you needed a deeper color correction. If you're still pulling yellow with that combination, this is gonna be your new best friend. You're gonna need this shade. So I know I've got quite a few clients that wear that combo. So Palace is going to be for those peeps. I hope you can tell the difference. Pink, this is more, I mean, even White Peach, which is more white than Aura, has yellow, as you can see. But this one is very different than what we had before. This one was barely pink. This Palace is a lot more pink, okay? I'm even gonna show you guys what it looks like on me and what will look like if you're not pink undertone. And this color also is not gonna color correct in any way. I know a lot of people think pink color corrects depth and darkness under the eyes. I have seen so many times people using things like Petal as a color corrector. Just because this is pink undertone does not mean it's gonna work. It is very light. Anything darker than this shade, it will not cover. It will only increase the look of texture and not give any coverage, okay? So remember, it's always the depth of the point. It doesn't matter the undertone, it matters the depth. So this still isn't gonna color correct my under eyes by any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to use it there by itself, but even layering this with my normal shades, I guarantee you this is not gonna be pretty on my skin. It might look okay from far away, but I know I'm not, I've tried Versailles before. It does not look pretty. Again, just because we have a new shade does not mean everyone is gonna be able to wear it or that you necessarily have to try it. I'm gonna be as upfront and honest as possible. This is why you need either to get color matched or to let me know what you're currently wearing, because I will know from your current shades, or if you tell me I'm using White Peach as a brightener, it's pulling too yellow, then yes, it's gonna tell me this is gonna be a good option, okay? Next. So, Versailles, Palace, White Peach, Aura. I know I said I'm not gonna put them on my, I think it's the natural light. These are like so blown out. Can you see how much darker this one looks than this one? When it clearly is not. This is Palace, this is Versailles. So deceiving. I swear, I can't even swatch it accurately on a white sheet of paper. I can tell though, I can tell the undertones from looking at this. And it's crazy to me how much more pink Palace is than Versailles. It's really crazy. It's pretty pink, guys. It's pretty pink. So it's gonna work for a lot of people though. Okay, let's go next. I'm gonna skip Hazel because that's the one I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try Golden Hour. I believe they said this was in between Mango and Goddess. Okay, so it's my ride or die. Use it all the time. Definitely darker. Goddess. Whoops, wrong one. They did say Goddess, right? Yeah, they did. Oof. I don't feel like that necessarily looks lighter. I feel like it just looks like a different undertone. This might be one that I have wanted though. So typically I wear Mango. Mango's the king of all color correctors. The undertones of this shade, it just literally make it amazing. People are scared of it because they say it looks orange. I feel like it does not, you compare it to Golden Hour, it looks subtle, right? Golden Hour is darker. Okay, so this is Mango. Again, you guys see me use it all the time. Never looks like this on the face, right? Because you should never be applying that much. So Goddess was always one darker. Now, it is one darker, but the undertones are different. And Goddess actually has much more yellow in it. Can you see that? This is Mango, this is Goddess. So Mango, Goddess, gosh, again, I feel like that's deceiving. Let's try this. Since I'm close to Mango, I'm gonna put it over here so we can put it in between the two. So this is Mango, this is Goddess. Mango, Goddess, okay? On camera, I feel like this doesn't even look orange, this doesn't even look yellow. I promise you, it's a lot more yellow. Whereas sometimes it doesn't color correct as good as even mango can because of the undertones. So golden hour is described as in between the two, but warm. Mango's warm. I've always considered goddess more, it is warm, but it's more yellow warm, okay? So let's try golden hour. Yeah, it is in between the two. But do you see how much warmer it is? Gosh, man, it's just barely darker than mango. Usually swatching on a white piece of paper tells me a lot, but it's really hard to compare. First impressions are, this color is going to color correct more so than this. There are people that can wear goddess alone by itself, they're fine, but there's some people that wear goddess and they're not getting enough coverage, say depth under the eyes, that kind of thing, because this just doesn't color correct blue purple tones as much because it's more yellow than orange, okay? So this one might be the answer to their prayers, switching to golden hour. So I really want to try this on this dark spot because mango sometimes is still peeks through. Goddess does not color correct it whatsoever. Yet if I was to up it to papaya, which is an amazing color corrector, but really dark, it's sometimes just, I can see the papaya showing through. So this might be a really good option for me and those that just need a little bit more coverage on depth, darkness, whether that's under eyes or dark spots, but mango's not cutting it. Papaya's too much. This one might be good because this one is still lighter than the newest nutmeg, which is darker. So here's the new golden hour and here's nutmeg. I saw when this one was released, I used nutmeg as my color corrector, which is pretty dark, but I compensated by using a much lighter mane in order to neutralize and keep me matching. So I might try a little bit of golden hour because I really want to see how Hazel color corrects, but I might try this just on this spot to see if it helps because I'm dying to try it. Okay, so there you go. There's mango, golden hour, and goddess. I feel like you can really tell how much more yellow that is, but it is still warm, obviously. But warmth is our friend, guys. Again, the more melanated you are, the more dark spots you have, even redness is really color corrected more so with our warmer shades than anything else. I promise you, you just have to know the right combination to keep you matching and toned down. That is why mango has been my go-to for so long, but man, I am excited to try this because there are some people that are just, their darkest points are a little bit too dark for mango, not dark enough for papaya. This is gonna be your golden ticket. So especially this summer as you're getting darker, if mango starts pulling too light, I would say if you're using mango and the depth and the tone is good, you're gonna need to shade up to golden hour and not goddess. All right, last but not least, I'm gonna try it, guys. This is Hazel. I actually bought 2 of these because I was like, this might be my color, and I'm very, very excited to try it. Now, they did say this was between sandy and mango, but warm. I feel like it's a nice in between, man. Okay, so if you guys don't know, I just went over mango's warm, okay? People are like, oh, it's orange. I feel like it doesn't look orange at all on camera. It might still on the website, but that's inaccurate, remember? And then sandy is actually one of our neutral shades. So it was one lighter than mango. And so as you got darker, you would have to shade up to mango. So Hazel might be that shade up shade. If you're using a combination of mango sandy like me, you might be able to just use this, but I'm not gonna tell you that until we play with it, swatch it, and I try it for myself. And that includes wear time through the day because I can wear sandy all over. It does wash me out, So that's why I need a little bit more warmth and mango does that. But this one is supposed to be warm. So I'm assuming it's not gonna wash me out like Sandy does. But if I wear Sandy all day, this starts breaking up, my redness starts peeking through, I don't have good longevity. So we're gonna see if this is dark enough for my darkest points. And that's gonna be the kicker. I might be able to use a combination of Golden Hour and Hazel and get that longevity if for some reason it doesn't last. So let's swatch these. So we already did mango right here. I'm gonna go in with Hazel right next to it. Man, I love a new highlight. They're so creamy, especially once they've been melted. Oh, okay. That is not as warm as I thought it would be. Okay, mango, Hazel. That is much more neutral than it appeared originally. Okay, Sandy. Sandy is very neutral. Sandy's like the darker form of Athens, which is the darker form of Candlelit. Okay, so Sandy, Hazel, mango. Now granted, that's a very heavy swatch of mango. Again, it's so hard to show. Okay, let's do this. Okay, you guys can be able to see. So this is Sandy, Hazel, mango. I feel like it looks less warm than I originally thought. Okay, enough swatches. Let's try these. I'm not gonna use my Mango Sandy Aura like I normally do. We are going to use, actually, let's do this. I'm gonna color correct with Golden Hour on my bad side. My bad side being this side. I'm gonna use it under my eyes here and on my broken capillaries on my right, okay? I'm gonna color correct with Golden Hour and then I'm gonna use Hazel as my main. On my left, I'm just gonna use Hazel for everything. I wanna see how well it color corrects. And then I'm gonna probably ruin the whole thing. I'm gonna brighten with Palace. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just apply real quickly like I normally would with my normal shades, so that is not a factor. I'm gonna use the blend brush, the brush and I can't talk. I've talked too much. Blush and bronzer brush, and then I'm going to contour, of course, with Cedar, and I'm gonna show you the final look. Let's see how this goes. Okay, friends. What do you think? Time will tell. I will check back in after wearing them all day. I pretty much just applied them exactly like I normally do. I probably could have done one more layer here. I normally do 2, which I didn't do. So let's see. Golden hour. I'm pretty impressed actually with the matching. So now let's just see about longevity. I'm gonna even set this because the coverage is pretty darn good. So I did golden hour to correct over here, and then Hazel as my main. I only used Hazel on this side. Guys, what shocks me the most is that Palace does not look that bad, as bad as I expected, under my eyes. Now, granted, I do have some cool undertones around my eyes, so maybe that's why it's not quite so chalky. The key though, because I feel like I could probably figure out a way to wear any shade just because I understand them so well. The key with anything and getting it to sit well on the skin is using very little, light hand, applying it only where needed, so avoiding heavily textured areas. Color correcting first will make anything sit on the skin better. And then of course, my ride or die using the perfector, because nothing's gonna sit well without this bad boy. Pressing it into the skin, removing excess, and blending. So my only other thought was I really like Cedar. I'm gonna have to see what the pictures look like, but from natural light, I think this might be what I was looking for. Because here's the thing, when you have hyperpigmentation like me, so like this side has been a doozy for me lately because I've gotten some spots that are starting to get a little darker and mango wasn't quite covering it. So I feel like first of all, the golden hour helps that. And second of all, sometimes when you're applying a contour, even if you're using my method where you're color correcting first and then pressing it in order to not move all that under it and expose your dark spots, sometimes cool shades are the hardest to wear for hyperpigmentation in your cheeks. Sometimes it kind of makes that area stand out even more so. And so usually we're like, okay, you got to go with a warmer shade. Like I said earlier, indigo usually doesn't solve that problem. Even though it's warmer, it can actually be harder to blend, meaning it's harder to apply in that way. So I think Cedar is going to be what those people need, that they're caught, like Astoria was pulling like the same tone as their dark spots and making it look like they just haven't blended their contour instead of exaggerating the dark points in their contour line. That coupled with the fact that a warmer contour always blends out easier. Cooler contours tend to need more blending. So this one went on like butter. I don't know if it's because it was recently melted. It's nice and soft, a new contour. It's always easier to apply. It's not quite so dry. It went on so good. And I'm impressed. This side, I feel like I'm matching perfectly, which makes sense because mango sandy, mango corrected, sandy toned down and kept me matching. This shade is what Hazel matches really well. I'm not washed out like Sandy does. I've got really good coverage on this side. So true test is gonna be this area, a little bit under my eyes. I feel like it didn't quite color correct under my eyes maybe as much as mango does, which makes sense because mango's darker. That point's probably just a little bit too dark for this point. So it all makes sense so far. I'm really liking that golden hour on that spot. We're gonna see how it holds up. I will take pictures after about 8 hours. Even though I said I wasn't gonna swatch everything, I did anyway. So I'm wearing Jolene on the cheeks. It's not scary. It's literally my favorite right now. And even a little Jolene, Melody, and Homecoming. You guys know I like to mix. So I am not even going to use a setting spray. We're gonna see, I just use a little bit of powder in my T-zone. We're gonna see how that holds up. Now, these shades are all dropping at the customer appreciation party this Friday. So July, I almost said June. July 7th, it's an all-day event over on Instagram. If you go to Saints and Angels, that is like the party account for all of Saints parties. And this one is all about you guys. This is for appreciation of you guys being like the best customers in the whole wide world. There's gonna be new stuff. They always drop some fun stuff. I am like, fingers crossed, some of those cult favorite limited edition shades will be available. So I would say make sure you're tuning in live, because if they are, they might sell out. They drop these first to artists just so that we can kind of like try them, give you guys a heads up in case there's any shades you're wanting, because all day based on your total order purchase, it's a percentage off discount across the board depending on how much you spend, which I'll be honest, I cannot remember Seint ever doing. Usually it's like a gift with purchase. So this is really nice. So if you're needing a color match before the event, my color match request again is gonna be down in the Dropbox below the video and also in the pinned comment. Happy to help you out. I will do my best if you are curious if any of these shades are gonna work for you. Just tell me more about what you're currently using, what kind of coverage you want. If you're gonna be getting any darker, how those shades are sitting. Based on that information, I should be able to tell you whether they're good or not options for you. First impressions are Seint knocked it out of the park once again. Granted, they've never come out with a shade where I'm like, oh, that's a horrible shade. It's always been something that is needed, and I'm sure they're gonna continue to fulfill our requests that we've asked for over the years. I hope that video was somewhat helpful. Let me know if you have any questions down in the Dropbox below the video. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back next week, hopefully soon. Whatever new stuff drops at that customer appreciation party, I will share as well, as I always do, as soon as I get my hands on it. So have a great week. Love you guys.